Welcome to this video where we will take a light-hearted approach to look at some funny maths words and phrases. In other words, maths can be funny. Here's the first one, an acute angle. I'm sure you can see acute angle on this shapely lady, but actually an acute angle is an angle between 0 and 90 degrees, such as this example that shows an angle of 55 degrees. Complementary angles. To suck up to their employer, employees may look at all angles and also compliment their boss, just as you can see there. However, in this case, complementary angles are angles whose sum is 90 degrees, such as 40 and 50, which of course makes 90 degrees, or a right angle. Let's have a look at the next one. Annulus. The word sounds a bit anal, doesn't it? It actually refers to the area between two circles. Another related one, Latus Rectum. This phrase is related to annulus only in sounding anal. It actually refers to the red line in the conic shape, the perpendicular red line. A catenary. No, it's not a house for cats as you might suspect. It's actually the shape created under the force of gravity, as you can see there. And a lot of suspension bridges are constructed in the same way, or even high voltage power lines. They all, under the weight of gravity, give you that shape. Degenerate case. A degenerate case does not refer to a situation involving an immoral or dishonest person, such as the two sleazebags shown here. It is a special case of a mathematical problem when given special conditions. This example shows that the general equation for a circle becomes the degenerate case of the unit circle given the conditions shown. In other words, when h equals 0 and when k equals 0. A defective number. If a number is defective and needs repair, you would think, why don't mathematicians fix it? In reality, a defective number is just a number whose divisors are less than twice the number itself. For example, the divisors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4, and 1 plus 2 plus 4 equals 7, which is less than twice the number, 8. Eccentricity. Looking at that picture, you may think that eccentricity refers to any mathematician who behaves strangely, but that's not true. It's the amount of deviation of a shape from being a circle. As you can see there, we have an ellipse shape, an elliptical orbit, and the amount of deviation from the ellipse is the eccentricity. Extraction of a root. We normally think of extraction of a root or root extraction as something a dentist does, but it doesn't mean pulling out numbers in mathematics. It means to find the square root of the number, such as the square root of 9, which is 3. A field. Fields are great for animals and farms and for us to go on picnics, but in mathematics it means something quite different. A field in mathematics is nothing more than a set of numbers satisfying certain conditions. The field of real numbers, the field of complex numbers, and so on. Horner's method. If you know your nursery rhymes, you will think that this method explains how little Jack Horner shows us how to eat pie. But that's not the case at all. It's really a way of finding the roots of a polynomial. That means the points of intersection of the graph with the horizontal axis. An imaginary number. If the number is imaginary, you would think, why would a mathematician have to worry about it? Or does it even exist? But let's leave that a question for the philosophers. In mathematics, an imaginary number is called I and has the property that I times I is -1. Which is counterintuitive, isn't it? Because you might be aware that we normally say that any number multiplied with itself is always positive. Vulgar fractions. Are they called vulgar fractions because they don't know how to behave? In fact, vulgar fractions is the old-fashioned term for what we now call a fraction. An irrational number. If a number is irrational, shouldn't it be locked up in an asylum? In mathematics, an irrational number is any number that cannot be written as a fraction, such as pi, or e, or square root of 3, and so on. There are an infinite number of them. A leg. This is an unusual one. We have 2 legs. which is also how many are needed to refer to the side of a right-angled triangle, which is adjacent to the right angle itself. In other words, the two shorter sides of the triangle are called legs. L'Hôpital's rule. That's a mouthful, isn't it? It's not a set of rules you obey when visiting a hospital. It's actually a rule named after the mathematician who developed a way of dealing with division by zero. And as you can see in that example, as x approaches zero, you will end up having 0 on the top and 0 on the bottom, which in normal circumstances doesn't exist, but L'Hôpital found a way of avoiding that possibility. And the last one, saddle point. You might think that a saddle point is a particular point on a horse's saddle, and in this case you might not be too far wrong. In fact, it refers to a section of a three-dimensional shape that resembles the shape of a saddle, as you can see in the diagram on the right. I hope you've enjoyed a few definitions of these mathematical terms in an amusing way, and please leave a comment in the comments section. Until next time, bye-bye.